indication from Councillor Colin Blackburn that he wants to speak.
Okay, fine. Okay. So, Councillor Blackburn.
Thank you, Chair. I'm delivering this statement on behalf of myself, Councillor June Player, Councillor Karen Walker and Councillor Sean Hughes. I'm sure you're aware we wrote to Councillor Guy requesting some clarification on some points, and he kindly pointed us to a newspaper article which had some information. However, we are yet to receive the promised full and final response from Councillor Guy. The two main concerns raised were legitimacy of Councillor Guy's candidacy and a concern regarding the confrontational tone of the language being used, as we would encourage residents to express concerns and opinions without fear, and we should welcome scrutiny and transparency. We have read the papers sent out by the Chief Executive and can see that your leader-elect has probably qualified to stand in the election using the letter of the law. We do still feel that perhaps the spirit of the law has still been missed. We are disappointed the Lib Dems feel there is a need to parachute in a leader where there are clearly some talented, capable and long-standing members amongst them. We would rather have a leader with a deep understanding and first-hand experience of Baines and its diverse regions, a history that can only be gained from living amongst us for several years. For these reasons, we feel unable to support this nomination. Of course, there is no doubt that Councillor Guy will be nominated tonight, and we can only hope that he will take the time to visit wards and ward councillors and take guidance from the knowledge they have gained from being part of their communities for several years and even decades. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blackburn. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Chair. The Conservative Group will not be supporting the nomination of Councillor Guy for the leadership of the Council. In fact, we wouldn't be supporting any Lib Dem put forward for the leadership of the Council. We cannot, in all consciences, vote for a procedural motion because we fundamentally disagree with the administration's approach and its plans for Baines, whether that's about the pursuit of the policy of restricting access to the city centre, to continue the rollout of low traffic neighbourhoods despite the obvious problems, failing to consult properly on active travel schemes and misjudgments which show how hopelessly out of touch they are with the needs of the residents, to say nothing of the clear and explicit antipathy towards fundamental parts of our local economy and the desire to be perhaps some sort of national champion climate emergency zealot. So we will not be voting for the instalment of another Lib Dem as leader of the council for the reasons set out.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Councillor Ross.
Thank you. I'm afraid the Labour Group will not be supporting Councillor Guy for leader of the council this evening as well. I appreciate that this, in a sense, is a breach of what is normal practice when you have a group that has a clear majority on the council. But I'm afraid there have been too many questions about the qualification of Councillor Guy to actually stand in the 2019 election. I appreciate that we have had advice from the Chief Executive and from independent legal source on that qualification, and I appreciate as well that these particular rules on qualification are complex. But I'm sure, as many of you know, the independent legal advice on qualification says that despite the nomination paper being incorrectly completed, there seemed to be an underlying entitlement to stand. Now, I'm sure that there are many hundreds of nomination papers that have been filled out by councillors in this council chamber. And I'm sure, like myself, your experience is that when you put a nomination paper in, it has to be precise, it has to be exact, and it has to be correct. And this is the first time that I've ever heard of an incorrectly filled out nomination form being acceptable. So the Labour Group is seeking a separate legal advice on this. Unfortunately, that has not come through at this point. So I'm afraid this evening we will not be able to support this nomination and we will be voting against it.